Top 5 rogue decks post Darkwing Blast here. What can we expect to be interesting? Make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Number 1 on our list here is going to be Earthbox. Now, this is going to encompass the machine deck, anything that can utilize the Vernal Sift package, which is actually kind of going to be like the big tie in here. And I guess we got to put Madolche in here as well because they're Earth. So everything kind of Earth related gets these big major power-ups because of the new Vernal Sift cards. Now, actually, this goes even to like extend maybe to gadgets, because I've seen some cool gadget combos where, you know, being able to discard the gadget, search another Vernal Sift, special summon the gadget, add a gadget to your hand. It's just the Vernal Sift stuff in general, even like when you start getting into like playing the big fairy herself, the ability to basically punish the opponent with these relatively large monsters. And if you control 5 Earth monsters, you get a negate, and then you can take something of your opponent's as well and turn it into an Earth monster. There's a lot going in here within the sphere of the Earth monsters. So I just kind of wanted to mention, you know, one big thing with this is the Vernal Sift stuff didn't really high impact in the OCG. It has been very much a splash package. So that's why I said specifically Earthbox in general here is all these decks that can take advantage of this. And definitely Madolche undergoes a pretty big evolution with these new cards as well, because that's just a whole new extra line of good stuff that you can add into the fray here and then just have access to for no reason. Like, I wasn't kidding when I said Darkwing Blast was a pretty good set just for mixing up, you know, the little fray of interesting things. So if you're an Earth player, congratulations, you got a pretty cool power up here for your good stuff. So I think it's like the important thing here, when you can see huge power ups like this happen, usually ends up being a very good thing here. Next up is going to be Bysteel Dragon Maid. Now you're like, that is oddly specific, Robbie. So Dragon Maid post Bysteel in the OCG, it took a little while for this deck to kind of start to uptick itself here. But you know what all the Bysteel cards usually are? They are level 6 or higher dragons. Ooh. You know what that means? Yes, you actually kind of have synergy within your deck here to actually access your fusion spells to not get punished for it. Now, that's like where our immediate value tree is going to kind of start to go here. So Dragon Maids have a decent level of consistency about themselves. I mean, ending on 1 Omni Negate, you know, with like a bounce interruption doesn't sound the best, but when you kind of start adding in these additional huge power cards here, like, you know, interruptions from Magnuma, interruptions from Druid Worm, you would probably, I do believe you do play the Lubellion package in here to get access to Rebranded and whatnot as well. So that's kind of something else here is you are going to splash in. You're going to go much further beyond, you know, just the little splash of this. Like, the Bysteel is going to be one of the engines that's going to be a very hard carry for this deck. And then, you know, you kind of just build around the rest of, like, the control aspect that you need. Obviously, like, hand traps can assist you, yes, but how much value do you want to put into a build like this? How much, where are you going to put your, you know, I guess, control aspects? As a control player, seeing something like this come into the fray and be something possible, I'm actually very excited about. I do want to see, and I do hope that we will see this take off, because I think that there's a pretty cool, like, chance that this could be a really, really cool strategy, at least in terms of my opinion. Next up is going to be Blackwing. So I've listened to one for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, consistently tell me that Blackwings have a chance to be good in the meta. And, you know, I could just be listening to some crazy talk, or there could actually be something to this. Well, after the latest, you know, band of support here, you kind of got to take a step back and go, maybe with Steam the Cloak coming back, maybe with all the Blackwing support, maybe there is something to this, or maybe this is just some crackpot theory yet again. I have not had the chance to test any of the Blackwing stuff myself, so my opinion might be a little bit off. But a lot of the old Blackwing cards are not that good anymore. Example, Armed Wing, for example. Lund was also telling me that, while Steam the Cloak is a pretty good card for the deck, you still kind of value the Vayu dump interaction a lot better, because Vayu ends up being one of those better cards. And you're still playing a synchro package deck at the end of the day, and you still got to ask yourself, these synchros we're putting up, how good are these going to be? With the restrictions in certain cards that, may lock you into Blackwing. I guess it's going to come down to, are we just kind of like a synchro good stuff deck, or, is Full Armor Master going to be good enough to, put itself on the field? I mean, you do have a Towers monster with a 3,000 body. That is something to kind of be a wee little bit impressed with at the end of the day. You always just kind of got to factor for that. If your opponent puts some sort of unaffected creature on the field, you're like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to out this? This is not a fun time interaction really for anybody. So from where I'm sitting right now, I guess I might have to agree, but I'd like to see some results out of this, because if this is good enough to top 16 in an event, that's going to be quite interesting. Next up is going to be Flanderies. So what really changes here in the metagame for Flander? Well, now that the metagame has shifted doors to a whole lot of more rogue kind of entering in here, the buy-steal cards kind of stepping up, Flander doesn't give two craps about buy-steal cards, alright? Most of their big stuff does Flunder cards touching the graveyard. Jokes. Plus, they're not even within the realm of, light or dark. If you plan into somebody main decking these particular cards, I got bad news for you. Flunder's going to tear you apart. Oh, also, M-Pen still reigns on top of the Animal Kingdom here as one of the best floodgate monsters in the game. You know what I mean? Overall, I think once the metagame, you bring in heavier cards to counteract more specific niches, then I think a deck like Flounder does get the chance to step up, because when a deck is completely oblivious to, what's going on around it, and it still sticks to its game plan, there are no hits or anything that have happened to this deck. Flounder, unlike the OCG, this deck is still 100% power. The problem still remains here that it's still Flounder. If you go first, you're really good. If you go second, you kind of cry. I feel like that's... you have things like Dark World no more. Yeah, you have, Mystic Mind to slow down strategies. Your opponent opened up the Ash Blossom to stop your one-up Searcher because you bricked. That's just kind of... It's always going to be the Flanderies experience, in my opinion. You won't be able to always win them all, but I think the deck now inherently has gotten one step easier to handle things. I guess you'd also be crazy inside... Magnamut and Druidworm in here, but I feel like you're just oh, all my Flanderies cards, whatever am I going to do with these? Little things for 500 that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players will try to do. And next up on our list here is going to be the power of Exo Sister. So, Exo Sister loves buy-steal cards. Oh, yes, they do. What's that? I now have more interaction points to choke out tier elements. So, in the OCG, they took a lot of the buy-steal engine and merged it into this deck. Right now, Exo Sister's been running around with the Runic package as of late. That's an entirely different beast in and in itself. TCG's on some very interesting things when it comes to some of these combination strategies that are working out here. But when you just take a look at what's going on with Exo Sister here, getting access to that package is going to change a lot of things in the game. So my personal opinion, Exo Sister finally gets the chance to step up here. The deck was running around in top 10, usually pretty sure. I still think it is running around in top 10 post this set. But this set adds so much into, the control aspect for these roguish decks to do what they want to do. I just hope that, it's enough for Exo Sister to actually care at the end of the day. And unfortunately, if it's not, well, we'll see another big flop out of Exo Sister, but hopefully we can finally see that consistent notch on the belt for them to hold. So that's it's kind of my take right now for everything. Whether or not it ends up being right or wrong, there's some pretty cool little opinions in here, at least I think. I do want to see Dragon Maid be a little bit interesting, and I want to see what Blackwings can bring to the table here post all of this, but... My question is, what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons. ya!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.